think boxing-wise, he's going to give Canelo fits. Don't believe he can hurt Canelo. Just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful.
He just need to be left unsaid. I understand he's articulating like his point of view, like, look, this is all natural work. We're just working hard at it. We're doing X, Y, Z.
I always wonder, will people say that, no, Canelo was going down and he had had enough? That there might be an excuse for that. So.
Stephen A. Smith discusses Canelo Alvarez's substantially larger body ahead of the Terence Crawford fight, suggesting it raises concerns about how the size differential will impact the outcome. He respects Crawford as the superior fighter, but warns that if Crawford is unable to deliver enough force to harm Canelo, he may face difficulty. Smith's statements raise concerns about the physical gap and its potential impact on the highly anticipated fight.
You know what, I think my initial reaction would be to say that I think that Crawford would be the superior boxer, as great as Canelo is, as seasoned as he is, with 65 fights, if I recall, on his record. I think boxing-wise, he's going to give Canelo fits. Don't believe he can hurt Canelo. Just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful. Again, Crawford is the superior boxer. But if he can't hurt Canelo, he can't keep him off of him. He says it's a legacy fight, and he believes he can do the same, and he wants to do the same against a fighter the caliber of Canelo Alvarez, which is why we haven't really seen him in the ring against anybody else. Fortunately, that's the business of boxing. He's a victim of it, not a villain.
Eddie Reynoso, Canelo Alvarez's acclaimed trainer, has responded to suspicions about performance-enhancing chemicals. In boxing, Reynoso has previously been accused of giving or permitting fighters to take chemicals at his gym, but he has categorically denied these allegations. He added that his fighters, including Canelo, handle their own nutrition plans and that he does not meddle with their food decisions. This statement is especially crucial ahead of the Crawford fight, as conjecture generally spikes when a fighter's physique or performance improves significantly. Reynoso claims that his primary focus will be on training tactics, skill development, and mental preparation, with no direct involvement in nutrition or supplement administration.
Eddie Reynoso says, starting now, I'll be working 100% with a team that I can supervise. I've let the boxers who have come to me to train have their own nutrition team. So all of these fighters popping because of their nutrition team. Eddie Reynoso is guilty by association, so you have to clear the shit up. That's what I was saying about Victor Conte when he came with his transparency. I'm doing the same now with Eddie Reynoso. He knows he has to clean that shit up. I suggest to Eddie Reynoso, if you're going to be 100% in control of the nutrition team, join Snack. They got hyper-exfoliated, futuristic, hydraulic chambers. Get Nello on Snack. Hey, brother, Nello on Snack with the futuristic 1.121 gigawatt, brother, please.
While Eddie Reynoso has trained multiple fighters, -1 by some counts, who have failed urine tests during their careers, he has stated unequivocally that this does not include Canelo Alvarez. Reynoso has stated that each case should be handled separately, and that fighters are ultimately accountable for what enters their bodies. In Canelo's instance, Reynoso said he has always followed a clean diet and has been exceedingly cautious with any food or supplement use.
Boxing corruption at its absolute finest, but how does it connect to Eddie Reynoso and Canelo team? So Rodriguez Jr. failed his test after the Galal fight. He set the record for the most punches landed in that fight. It even prompted people like Sonny Edwards during the fight to say, this is weird. And yet, he will not be punished. In fact, he'll be kind of rewarded because he's going to get ordered an immediate rematch for the WBC belt. The only thing he's got to do is have a 12-month probation period with random testing. Now, WB are doing this because they have ruled it proven unintentional use. It just so happened he took stuff that was extremely beneficial to his conditioning. Here is the WBC official statement. Feel free to pause this and read it. But what's it got to do with these two fine gentlemen? Well, Rodriguez Jr. is part of Canelo team, and he was rumoured to be managed by Eddie Reynoso. Eddie Reynoso since came out and said, no, I don't manage him, blah 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 blah, and he distanced himself. Now why that's important is because Eddie Reynoso has been connected to, I think now, 6 or 7 fighters who have all failed their drugs tests. The rumour around town, now this is just a rumour, and definitely not true, is that these two may have smoothed things over with the WBC, maybe used their position of power to get Rodriguez Jr. a bit of a lenient sentence, put it that way. Again, that's not true, I've just completely made that up. But what is unbelievable is a fighter nowadays can actually fail a drugs test and not be punished whatsoever. In fact, can be rewarded. Unbelievable.
Terence Crawford's strength coach has made a daring prediction ahead of their highly awaited fight against Canelo Alvarez. He spoke confidently, declaring that Terence will beat Canelo and that the camp was properly prepared. His statements reflect Crawford's team's optimism that their fighters' power, conditioning, and unwavering work ethic will be sufficient to overcome Canelo's stature and experience. The coach underlined that their preparation is exact and planned, focusing on both strength and stamina to equal Canelo every category. This statement has added fuel to an already heated debate among fans over whether Crawford's power at a higher weight will be enough to trouble a seasoned champion like Canelo. Some analysts believe that the size of the ring may be a deciding factor in the battle. A standard-sized ring would allow Crawford to use his movement, quickness, and strategic positioning to keep Canelo at bay. Canelo has historically struggled against opponents who maintain space and use lateral movement, as evidenced by his loss to Dimitri Bivol. Fighters who can keep Canelo chasing rather than going toe-to-toe frequently annoy and upset his rhythm. If the ring dimensions encourage movement, Crawford's chances of controlling the tempo and influencing exchanges improve dramatically. However, if Canelo closes the distance soon, the bout may get much more physical. Veteran sports broadcaster Jin Gray has commented on the battle, calling it a fantastic fight between two boxers with outstanding legacies. He commended Canelo Alvarez for his consistent success across many weight divisions, while also recognizing Terence Crawford's dominance in his own division. Gray's balanced opinion demonstrates the respect both men have in the sport. He realized that the contest is about more than simply titles, it is also about legacy, with each guy hoping to seal his place in boxing history.
I think we want to see the best fight the best. And even though there's been a difference in weight divisions here, I think that, people clamor for big names and big fights and guys who are great to fight each other. So being for the institution, and I am for the institution of boxing, I think Canelo has been great for boxing, and I think Terence Crawford has been great for boxing. So how this is going to play out exactly, I don't know. Terence Crawford is older, and Canelo has, twice as many rounds? So I don't know how that combination ends up, the weight difference. Canelo's going to be a bigger man and a bigger frame, and coming up in that weight. So I think it's just going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be at the Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play, and it's going to be filled up, and we're going to have a huge, huge night for boxing for the world to see.
One follow-up, do you feel like Terence Crawford has the style to cause Canelo problems?
Does he have the style to what?
Cause Canelo problems.
Terence Crawford's a great fighter. Terence Crawford can give anybody problems. Whether or not he will, I don't have that crystal ball. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
Renowned trainer Abel Sanchez has expressed severe doubts about Crawford's chances, citing the size disparity between the boxes. Weight classifications exist for a purpose, Sanchez stated, emphasizing that while technique is important, natural size and power should not be underestimated. He stated that Canelo's strength in his natural weight class will be a significant challenge for Crawford, who is stepping up to meet him. According to Sanchez, even a fighter as talented as Crawford will struggle to overcome the physical disadvantages of such a clash.
As everybody has opinions, and my opinion is that I think Canelo will be too big for him. I think Crawford needed a little more seasoning, a little more seasoning of his weight, that is. He's had a year and hasn't had really any fights against those caliber fighters. The last fight he had a 154-pounder, moved up one division and had a difficult time in a way that he wasn't dominating as he did in the lower divisions. You talk about a guy in Canelo whose really only bad outing was at the Bivol fight. And Bivol, when I first talked about that fight, when they asked me, Bivol is a Gennady Golovkin, just 15 pounds heavier. Same skills, maybe not the punching power, but very skilled. So anybody below 75, Canelo is dominated easily. After the 5th or 6th round, it seems to be sparring sessions for him. So I think that he does very well, and I think he wears Crawford out and wins a going-away decision. Crawford is an all-time great, obviously, but there's weight divisions,
Definitely as well. Abel, I'll leave it there, but I'll leave you with the final words. Any final words for the fans waiting to see you in the corner on Saturday night?
I'm very happy to be back. I retired for 3 years.
Legendary ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr. has stated that in a bout like this, the naturally bigger fighter usually wins. By that logic, Canelo Alvarez should have the advantage. However, Lennon also mentioned that Canelo hasn't appeared as dominant in previous fights, providing a window of opportunity for Crawford. This balanced viewpoint implies that, while size matters, recent form and fighting technique may still tilt the scales.
The super fight in September, how do you see that fight playing out? Who are you leaning towards? Who wins that fight?
Yeah, I tell you, I tend to always think the naturally bigger fighter is going to have an advantage. I'm just, with the Crawford moving up, he was a 135-pound champion. They had 40, fantastic champion. 47 then, and then 54 is 68 too much. That's really a big jump. But I tell you, a lot of people I respect just say, no, he's going to be favored on that.
Wow.
So I don't know what to say, but Canelo's a great fighter and a smart fighter, and two fighters in the pound for pound best, getting it on. That's nice for boxing.
And if Crawford is successful, where would you place him in the all-time greats? Does he belong in the top 10, or you've seen so many fighters come across?
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to say. But certainly he should be considered. He should be in that discussion, and people could argue that either way for a while. But if he does it, you always wonder, will people say that, no, Canelo was going down and he hadn't had enough? That there might be an excuse for that. So, we'll see. But it'd be quite a feat if he does beat Canelo. That'd be amazing.
Shocker Stevenson, an unbeaten and highly competent champion, has voiced his trust in Terence Crawford's ability. He has referred to Crawford as the best fighter in his weight class and believes his extraordinary abilities will be enough to defeat a bigger and stronger opponent such as Canelo Alvarez. Stevenson's compliment is significant since it comes from a boxer with demonstrated talent and credibility. His stance underlines Crawford's status among great boxers and confirms the assumption that size will not determine the outcome. Many in the boxing community believe Crawford is a legitimate threat despite the size disparity, making this possible fight one of the most fascinating and widely awaited in the sport today.
When you first heard about this idea, when you first heard about it, what did you think of this idea of Bud going up to 68 to fight Canelo?
I ain't gonna lie, I've been putting it out since, I want to say, when he fought Sean Porter. Like back then, if you go watch, it's an interview out there. I had said I think that Terence Crawford would beat Canelo Alvarez right after he fought Sean Porter. So the idea, I've been thinking about it. I've been saying it before Bud even was saying it.
Why were you saying it then? Like that was what, a few years ago? Was he 160 or 168 at that point? But why did you believe then that was the right fight?
Because I just knew, like, as far as in that weight class, Terence Crawford is like the greatest. So I just feel as though with Canelo's style and like the style of boxing that he got, I think and this is before Bivol did it, but I thought like Terence Crawford was the only guy who I felt as though could have beat Canelo with his style.
So tell me if you think I'm wrong here. Like, I might have been more confident after the Spence fight when he threw a lot of right hands in that fight, was aggressive. Against Madrimov, he didn't throw a lot of right hands in that fight. And I've been saying for years that the only way to beat Canelo Alvarez, throw right hands. Gennady Golovkin did it, almost beat him, probably should have beat him the first time around. Dimitri Bivol did it in their fight. Other guys tend to try to jab him to death. I don't think you can win fights
I was
jabbing
about to say, I disagree with you.
That's not surprising at all.
Sean Porter, a former world champion, has provided comprehensive views on Terence Crawford's recent physical metamorphosis ahead of his fight with Canelo Alvarez. Porter noticed that Crawford's legs were particularly thick, muscular, and well-proportioned, indicating targeted lower body conditioning. He underlined that Crawford's weight increase was uniformly distributed, with no disparity between the upper and lower bodies, indicating rigorous conditioning and nutrition. Porter also examined Crawford's movement, noting that despite the increased mass, his speed and agility remain intact. An impressive feat while increasing weight. According to Porter, keeping that agility while increasing strength could be a key advantage against Canelo, especially if Crawford uses his mobility to balance the Mexican champion's stature and power. His words provide legitimacy to the notion that Crawford's team has carried out a meticulous and disciplined strategy to assure top performance on fight night.
You guys, one reason you give Crawford a good chance at winning this fight is talking about Canelo has to have his feet set to deliver his power shots. Crawford making him pick his feet up. At 38 years old, putting on 14 pounds to go from 54 to 68, 38 years old, do you think his legs will be able to have the advantage that people that are picking him and thinking he could win this fight, will they have the advantage that they believe he will have at 38, putting on 14 pounds to those legs?
I looked at my business partner Malcolm while we were there. I said, "Yo, look at his legs." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah." I said, "They're thick. They're in shape. They look very strong." If anybody out there that want to act funny about what I just said, that's my job as a former athlete, as an analyst. I have to analyze everything, right? So I have to analyze how's his weight now distributed across your body.
His body, right?
Is it distributed a little too much right here in the midsection? Are the legs too thick? And now I'm not seeing the muscle pop and things of that nature. The dude is doing all of the right things. They have something called the incline in Colorado Springs. So just in case you don't know, Colorado Springs is about 6,000, a little bit more than 6,000 feet in the air, right? So it's above the altitude. I don't know where Vegas is. Vegas is around 1,000, I believe.
Some boxing fans believe Terence Crawford will overwhelm Canelo Alvarez, with many not considering it a 50-50 battle. This has resulted in what some view as open contempt for Canelo's accomplishments. Supporters claim that Canelo, still the best Mexican fighter of his generation, a multi-division champion who has faced some of the sport's biggest stars, while Crawford is undeniably unique talent, dismissing Canelo completely ignores his proven track record against superior competition. Thus, this battle is about more than simply titles. It is also about regaining or affirming respect in the boxing community. That's all for today's video. Stay tuned. Until the next.